Love, what's up? Welcome to Confidently Uncomfortable. I'm your host, Jago, health and lifestyle coach, and not-so-regal confidence queen. Coming at you with the real, the raw, and of course, the uncomfortable. My mission is to show you that to be confident, it has absolutely nothing to do with being perfect or having it all together, and everything to do with you getting uncomfortable and pushing your limits. Thanks for joining me. Let's dive in. Today's guest is a boss babe. She is such a powerhouse, so inspiring as a coach, as a human, just such an amazing person, Eve Guzman. So Eve Guzman is a macro coach as well as a business coach. A little bit of background about her. Eve Guzman was featured in People's 2015 Half Their Size issue after going from 277 pounds to 138. She is so driven in not only her fitness goals, but her business, as well as helping other people get inspired and create change in their own lives that's everlasting. I'm so inspired and so thankful to have her as a friend and as my coach, and I know you guys will enjoy getting to know her on this episode. So tune in and listen to my friend Eve. Okay, I have already given a nice little intro of my favorite person, but please give a warm welcome for my friend and coach, Eve Guzman, to the show today. I'm so happy to have you, Eve. How are you doing today?
I am so excited to be here. I cannot wait to talk to you and your audience.
Yes, I have been excited for this interview just because, you inspire me in so many other different ways, but I know that your story is going to inspire so many of my women listening today, just with your entire journey and experience. So I really want you to, let's just roll it back a little bit, and you tell me a little bit more about your journey, your personal fitness journey, growing up and kind of getting to where you are now.
Yeah, so I have a really interesting story with fitness and nutrition and weight loss. And I actually spent almost my entire life trying to lose weight. I had been overweight for 20 plus years, and I spent my childhood watching my mom diet constantly, unsuccessfully, which she became a client of mine. And she finally lost 85 pounds. And so that journey, that journey of yo-yo dieting is now over for her, and she's content. But I watched her dieting and my aunt's dieting and my mom's friends dieting, and I didn't think anything of it. And then soon, by the time I was in the 5th grade, I was overweight like them. Middle school, overweight. End of high school, I was already 200 pounds. I'm 5'1". And then by the time I was almost completing my freshman year of college, I was 225 pounds. And so through all of that time, I was secretly dieting. I was dieting and working out in my bedroom at the age of 13. My mom would come upstairs and say things like, I heard all this bouncing around. What's that noise? And I'm working out in the bedroom with probably there probably were Woman's World magazines, and then whatever was the youngest woman's magazine that wasn't a teen magazine, kind of Shape and Oxygen, but it was before those. I was mimicking what I saw for those workouts in my bedroom, and she's like, what's going on in here? And so I'm secretly working out, secretly dieting, trying to eat less Debbie cake snacks. I can't even say it. I loved those things. But I was dieting already when I was 13, 14 years old and hiding it. So by the time I got to college, and then I had my daughter right before my junior year, I ended up tipping the scales at about 277 pounds, and I was wearing a size 24. And at that time, when I couldn't find any clothes to wear, I had to finally make the decision, am I going to keep trying all these crazy diets, or will I redefine my own, version of fitness and nutrition and health, and actually do something that was going to make me feel comfortable in my body, but still also get healthier?
So at that point, you had been dieting in the past, but then you had your first child, and you said that something clicked, you knew you needed to find something. So what was it that you feel you recognized that was clicking, okay, I need to go all in with this towards my goals? What was that breaking point for you?
So the breaking point for me was when I was trying to like look my best, being in my young 20s, and it's like a super competitive mindset, nothing like it is on like social media now. But I would see women wearing like these cute outfits and cute jeans. And I was a newer young mom, and I'm like, I'm going to wear these cute things too. And I don't care if they're plus size. And so I would go out trying to find those items, and there weren't any of clothing that looked similar that even fit me. So I ended up going into a dressing room, and I ended up trying on like 20 pairs of jeans, and nothing fit. The only thing that would fit would be like those elastic pant jeans that you pull on. And I'm like, that's for older women. That's not me. Like, I'm 20. Like, this is not right. And that was like my breaking point, because I didn't feel normal. I didn't feel confident. I couldn't even walk into a clothing store and buy a pair of jeans anymore. Like, my size didn't even exist.
Mhm.
And so I was rotating myself between two pairs of pants that actually fit. And I was just like, I can't do this anymore. Like, something is definitely wrong. And I've got to change, because I felt horrible. And so, I mean, it wasn't just that my weight was high, I was out of shape. I was huffing and puffing. I couldn't keep up with my daughter. So it wasn't like I was in great shape and I was overweight. I clearly was unhealthy, and I could feel it.
Yeah, I mean, keeping up with your kids, that's one of the biggest things I hear from my clients that are moms is like that is a big part of their why is like
Hmm.
that was when it was like, okay, like something's got like I'm in my 20s, like I want to be able to continue to keep up my kids. Now you're actually making them keep up with you, which is the amazing part with your story. But um you came from that point of feeling like something's got to give to I talked a little bit about it in your introduction, but to actually getting featured in People's Magazine for the half their size, where you've lost the weight and put down. So talk a little bit about that experience of getting up to that point.
Yeah, so that was a huge shift. So after identifying that I couldn't, be in my current body anymore and be happy, I actually created my own nutrition plan for myself, because I have a background in science. I spent a lot of time, looking at why do diets actually work? What is actually happening here? It's a caloric deficit. It's the first law of thermodynamics. And I'm like, well, I'm smart enough. I should be able to figure this out. I'm going to create my own nutrition plan. So I started focusing on calorie counting first, and then improving the quality of those calories, and then eventually adding exercise, eventually adding lifting, and then eventually progressing to macros. And so after putting all of that into play and ditching like all of the fad diets and slim fast and special K cereal and only eat twice a day or salads all day, like I cut all that crap out, and I started eating real food with the amount of calories that I needed to eat per day. And after really being dedicated for 16 months, I lost 120 pounds,
Oh,
which was unbelievable, because I had spent all this time like exercising secretly in my bedroom, and, gaining like the freshman, I don't know, 25, 30, 50, 70. And it was like, oh my God, like real science, real nutrition, real food. And I lost the weight. So I lost the weight. I kept the weight off for about 4 months. By then, I was married, and my husband and I decided to have baby number two. So I had baby number two, and I got to 200 pounds. I lost all of the weight in about 3 months. And then after that, I kind of teeter tottered, plus or minus 10 pounds, like most people do when they get to a goal. And I was like, I want a new goal. I want a big goal. And I had been seeing these women in People magazine every single year on the very front of the cover, losing half their body weight. And I was like, wait a minute, I've lost 120. That's really close. I've only got 18 more to lose, which was still in a place that was safe for me, and my BMI would still be healthy. I wasn't going to be skinny or any of that. And I was like, I'm going to push for this. So I told my husband, I'm going to be in there. I'm going to push for it. I created an Instagram account to hold me accountable, and I tagged them on every single photo. I used the hashtag half my size on every single post, hoping they would see me. And then I hit my goal in April 2014, and nothing happened. Like, I hit the goal, and I thought, like, I don't know, fireworks were going to go off. Nothing happened. And so I just kept going, and people were seeing me, helping other people, showing how I actually lost the weight. And that's when I became a nutrition coach and started helping people. And then people, like literally People magazine, reached out to me in September 2014 and said, "We've been watching you for 9 months.
Wow.
And we've seen that you've lost all the weight. You've been tagging us. You've been blowing us up." I was like a little mini stalker, and they said, "We would love to interview you and do a background check and have you in our magazine." And I went through that process for about 4 or 5 months. And then I ended up being in their January 2015 issue of People. And so that's how that came to be. So, I mean, it was definitely some abundance going on there. And I didn't ask for the interview. I didn't apply. I just tagged them and I just did the work, put my head down, and I just kept going.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that's so exciting. Like the People magazine it's such an amazing, accomplishment because you set yourself out. You even use the words like, "I will do this." And I love that about you because you're a very big go-getter and you're not just, you don't half-ass anything. You always put your whole ass into it. And I think that's awesome about you. And one of the things with that is you said that you got to your goal and you expected fireworks and it wasn't that. And I think that a lot of people don't even get to the point of visualizing what would happen when they got to their goal. Like, what would you actually do? And when they get there, it's not what they expect. And a lot of times that has people revert back to their old habits, their old ways, because they're like, it's not all fireworks and dandelions over here. And you chose to, even though you weren't hearing from people, and even though you got to the goal, you chose to pour out and help other people get there. That was your shift in your why. So how do you feel like that affected your personal journey by being able to help others?
Oh, it helped to reinforce what I was doing. So, honestly, by helping other people, that's part of me being able to stay healthy and stay fit, because I feel like I have definitely been a role model for a lot of people. And I wanted to show them, you can lose this weight the right way. You can keep it off and keep it off forever. And that's exactly what I did. And I actually went on to lose more weight. So, yeah, I ended up losing more weight. But I really have always felt like I'm holding a torch for women that think that they can't do this, because they think they have to resort to surgery and things like that. But you can actually lose the weight if you really, really want to do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you've held a torch in multiple ways, and we'll get to that later with beyond the fitness journey and the business side of things. But what do you feel like, because I know there are a lot of women listening or just people listening in general that want to lose weight and they're stuck in that yo-yoing, whether it's fad dieting or just their mindset or whatever. What were some of your biggest roadblocks that you feel like you are still helping other people with getting through?
Roadblocks that I had while I was losing weight.
So
Oh yeah. So one of the big things was, oh my God, I have so far to go, because I lost a lot of weight. And so when people come to me and they say, I want to lose 50 or 75 or 120, which is a healthy amount because of the amount of weight that they actually weigh, and it's normal. And it's not that they want to end up 115 pounds after. They can't see the vision. They can't see the reality. And that was hard for me. I mean, there were times that I would still go into a clothing store and pick the 1X off of the rack when I was clearly a medium, because my progress was moving faster than I even realized, because all I would see was, I want to be this goal. My ultimate goal was 145. That was the number, 145, 145, 145. And a lot of people aren't focusing on the small steps that they're taking each week, because they just want to get to 60 pounds and 75 pounds down. And so I, make sure I'm reinforcing with people they're doing it the right way. This is the healthy way. This is how to do it to keep the weight off. And it's going to happen if you keep going and give yourself, some victory laps every time you hit a milestone versus I have so much more to go.
Yes, I love that. Exactly how you said it, basically focusing on those small steps that you're making that are right in front of you instead of looking how far you have to go. And I think that goes with everyone, whatever the goal is. if you focus on those small wins, that is how you're going to build up on yourself. And that's how you're going to make those changes. And I'm so glad that you're able to inspire other people with that. And one thing I want to ask you is with the 145, so you had that number in your head because so many people come to us, right, with a number. They're like, this is a number. Yeah. And you're like, why is that the number? I don't know, but this is the number. And it's definitely stuck on that. And you definitely do things in a more scientific way. So you knew that was like the number you felt was still healthy for you in a good spot. So when you got to that number, were there any realizations that came up with that goal?
Yeah. So when I got there, one, I didn't even look like what I wanted to look like anyway. Because I didn't put on muscle or lift while I lost the weight. And so I ended up losing all of that weight and I looked like a smaller version of my bigger self. Mm-hmm. So I felt frumpy, I felt skinny fat, and I thought things in my mind like lifting weights is going to make me lose weight slower. I'm going to be bulky, I'm going to be manly, I'm going to not lose weight, I'm going to be putting on weight. I thought I'm going to gain weight if I lift weights. Like forget all the science of the nutrition. Like I knew that. But I really thought lifting weights, I was going to look like a man. So when I got to 145, I had to like reevaluate. And then at that point, it became my goal is going to be looking how I want to look and not the weight and not the scale. And that's the same way that I feel now. If I look the way that I want to look, I don't care what the scale says anymore because it doesn't show your progress. It doesn't show your body fat percentage, your muscle mass, and you may get to that number and be sadly disappointed.
Amen. I mean, that's so true. And that's why I think having a goal beyond just the number is so important. So I'm so glad that you were able to recognize that and you help other people skip past that to where they can understand, like, what is it that you really want? Like you and me love lifting weights. Like we know that that can help us. And so busting those myths, I think, is huge. I mean, the fact that you're able to use education and science is so important. So in this field, I mean, there's a lot out there. I mean, a lot of people are scrolling. They might follow a lot of different fitness coaches, a lot of different people that might inspire them. So if they're looking for certain things, what do you feel like are some big myths that they should not listen to? So the first one you said was like, don't like, you can lose weight and lift weights. You're not going to look manly. What are some other ones that you hear that you're like, this is just not true? From a science.
Following a 1,200 calorie diet. Like that's the magical number. The next number is probably 1,400. If those numbers are not custom for your metabolism, your body type, period, like you usually have to be pretty darn little and petite, where 1,200 calories is even in the realm of being a safe number for you to be at. But those 1,200 calorie diets are ridiculous. Most people, I mean, probably 95% of women should not be eating 1,200 calories. Definitely not living at that number 365 days a year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I think that's the biggest one I hear too. So I'm glad that you come at it with an educational way. So what advice, looking back through all you've been through, educationally, personally, everything, what is something you would say to your younger self today as you were starting off that fitness, that weight loss goal? What is something you would tell yourself?
I wish I would have tried to eat real food in the beginning and lifted weights. Yep. So all of the diety type foods, all of the no sugar added, all of the stuff with Splenda, all of the like 100 calorie snack packs, Jello, sugar-free pudding cups, all of those types of things. And then eating healthy foods that I didn't like. So when I forced myself to try to eat asparagus, and I love it now, but I hated it when I was 17 and 20 and whatever, when I would try to force myself to eat things that I didn't feel were real and were like inherent to how I really like to eat, I would quit because I would try to change my whole identity. And if I would have really just ate 80% clean foods and 20% fun like I've done now and lifted weights, I would have hit my goal so much faster, had a better body composition, and I would have had a sustainable nutrition plan where I didn't feel like I was all the way in or all the way out.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And everyone's trying to see what's flashy, right? Like the fat-free, the sugar-free, the gluten-free. And then like even with diets, like it's any kind of headline thing. And I think that should honestly be a red flag for anyone that's looking for things. Like if someone's telling you it's going to happen overnight, or if someone's telling you that it's completely free and it's totally like guilt free or whatever, like think deeper and get back to the education at all. And I think you've seen it with your clients. I've seen it with mine. And you actually took a step further and started coaching coaches with this, with macros, right? So what do you feel like this, with what you guys, just a little background, I kind of mentioned in the beginning, but she started a Macro Mentorship certification. It's approved by the NASM, which is a big deal, the National Academy of Sports Medicine. It's where my certification for personal training is, as well as AFAA, which is another big real deal like certification. So basically she's the real deal. She's a badass. But what's cool is that she didn't do it just so that she could get the label of being a badass, because she already was, but there was something missing. And I want you to talk about that more and kind of how that developed into transitioning of helping coach coaches.
Yeah, so there was like a huge gap that I was seeing, and I had actually experienced it myself, but I was definitely lucky enough and worked hard enough to break through that barrier. But I saw that a lot of coaches were getting basic nutrition certifications from places like, and these are all great places, don't judge me because mine's from there too. But like ISSA, NASM now has one, precision nutrition, just an integrative health nutrition, but a lot of certifications that were basically nutrition certs that allowed people to check the box to say, hey, I'm certified. Now you can come hire me. But those certification programs did not teach people how to actually write macros, adjust macros, and apply macros to real people. And so a lot of coaches were interested in helping clients with custom macro-based programs, but they didn't know how to do it, because the nutrition certs basically, you get like 5 to 7 pages in a chapter, and it's like protein is this, carbs is this, fat is this, and the range is this huge range, zero point 0.5 to 2.0 grams per pound, and you're like, how do I throw a dart in the middle of that range? And so I ended up taking all of my years of experience and self-education and research of what I applied to my own clients, and basically sped up that process of clinical application for other coaches, teaching them in 4 months everything that it took me to do in 2, 3, 4 years to become an expert at macros. And so it combines like how to actually write really good nutrition programs, how to adjust, how to navigate, how to get people out of plateaus and troubleshoot, plus how to actually fully run and create an online business that's successful. So it actually bridged the clinical application of macros and building a sound business.
Crushing it right now. So if you are looking for coaches, I mean, obviously we both coach, but make sure you ask them the questions of like, what are their certifications? What are their experiences? Because I think that it's so important for there to be an educational background as well as the mindset work and all of that. So just be educated. That's all I can stress, is like, you as a consumer, like, ask more questions, dig deeper, don't take everything at face value. I think that it's so easy to get caught up in the flash and the shiny things, when really, if you want change that's going to last, it's so much more than that.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. And so with all of everything with your journey, you've had to really, really push yourself, get out of your comfort zone, get out of your head. And I think a lot of times we are our biggest barriers. We're the things holding ourselves back. There are so many women that are wanting to make changes in their life, whether it's personally, professionally, fitness, nutrition, whatever that is, but they're just holding themselves back. So what do you feel like were the biggest lessons you learned about like pushing yourself outside your comfort zone in order to reach your goals? So what are just some big lessons you've learned the past few years?
Oh my gosh. So to get uncomfortable, like I seriously just had to do it afraid,
Yeah.
because if you get up to like the edge of fear and you back down, you're never going to overcome it. You'll just keep coming up against it again and again and again. And those obstacles will limit you, and not just like your health and your fitness goals, but like everywhere in your life. And I had to challenge myself to lose weight when people thought I was nuts. They're like, why are you counting out this? Why are you measuring? And I'm like, mind your business. I got this over here. It's working. Believe me, it's working. But when people wanted to drink and party and other things, and I wanted to do that, I had to be uncomfortable in like that period of growth and embrace it and just do it, afraid and scary, not knowing if I was going to make it. And I had to apply the same thing to my business. I had to just do it out of fear to be able to become successful. And every time I did it afraid and I actually crossed the finish line, every other thing that I took on after that got so much easier. I mean, sometimes I almost just feel like, besides like heights, there's nothing I'm terribly afraid of, that and like drowning. Those are the only two things that I will back down on. But other than that, like I can just do whatever now. And I just get up there and I just do it out of fear. Like I have done figure competitions in a bikini that probably weighed 6 ounces and had to be glued to my butt because it was so revealing. So if I can lose 158 pounds and walk across the stage in 5-inch plastic stripper looking shoes, and you know what I mean, all my curves and everything out, and actually place and get trophies, like people can do anything. And I did it out of fear. I just did it.
Oh my gosh.
It wasn't like, oh my God, I'm just so comfortable with myself and I'm so amazing. The day of, I was like, what the fuck did I sign up for? And I'm like, I have to do this because everybody knows that I'm doing it. And so many women are counting on me. And I would literally get to the edge of the stage, take a breath and just walk and hope I didn't trip.
I would have tripped, for the record, but I love that the fact that you're like, okay, I did not have this confidence to do it. I just did it anyways. And I definitely talk about this as like, do it messy, like get into it. And like, you're not going to be confident before you jump in. Like the confidence comes with putting in the reps, doing the time, showing up for yourself over and over again. And you mentioned this with like wearing the bikini, and like, I'm sure a lot of times when you're getting into like your newer body and you're trying to feel more comfortable and confident, sometimes we still struggle, like you said, still grabbing an XL when we really need a medium, like still feeling like we're not where we're at, even if we have reached our goals. So I just know that there are so many women listening that want to hear, like, how do you get more comfortable in your new body? Like once you get to that goal, like what are some things that helped you mentally like feel more confident and show up for yourself more once you hit those goals?
I think I had to like take the things that I was afraid of and the things that I felt like were still mentally holding me back and embrace them. And it's almost kind of one of those things where like if you talk about a mistake or a flaw or something bad that's happened before anybody else can point it out, like you've already owned it, like what else can happen? And so I started actually talking about the fact that I was hiding photos that showed how much cellulite that I had, and I still have cellulite in photos, and I would throw them up, and so many women would go, me too, me too, me too, me too. And I would realize I need to stop beating myself up. And even though I'm at my goal weight and my goal size and body fat percentage, you may not get there and be this like, perfect goddess that you think that you're going to be. And you're still going to have perfection. So I talk about my cellulite. I talk about my skin because people think, oh my God, it's so amazing you lost weight. There is going to be loose, saggy skin. I had the skin removed off of my lower stomach, and I have a scar that runs from hip bone to hip bone. I show it. I talk about it. But I just embrace it because, like, this is as perfect is going to get, and this is good enough for me. And I'd rather live in this body that's, like, imperfectly perfect than be overweight and unhappy and unhealthy.
Oh, that's so well said. And something that you've always said that really stuck with me is choose your hard.
Yep.
I think that that's huge. So what's the message behind that, and why do you preach that to others?
Yeah, so people will tell me, they're like, I don't know if I want to get started. And I know you hear this too. I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can give up margaritas. I don't know if I can get up every morning at 6 a.m. and work out. Well, you know what? Like, losing weight is absolutely hard. I never lie to people about it. I never say, yes, it's just going to be so great and so amazing and so easy. You'll lose weight just as fast or whatever, like I did. But losing weight is hard, but being overweight is also hard, and you just have to choose your hard. But it's like, which one is it going to be? Are you going to be unhappy and be overweight and not at your goal and being, healthy and feeling good? Or do you want to feel unhappy because you're doing something right to lose weight and it's just hard and it sucks right then? It doesn't last forever, and you can make, this journey of weight loss or fitness more permanent, but you have to get there first. So choose one. You can either lose weight or you can be unhappy, because being fat is hard too.
Yeah. And you personally know both of those hards and those difficulties. So I love that you're speaking from a position of like, you've been there. You literally have been there. And so you continue to inspire me with all that you're doing. You literally break the ceilings. And like you said, you bring other women along with you. And I think it's so beautiful that you continue to do that with everything that you do. And you're so genuine as a human. And I'm so thankful for you. I'm not going to cry when I'm on the podcast, but I just want to know, like, I want to be able to continue to support you. And I want to know, like, what are some things that you're going to be doing in 2020 that are going to be pushing you outside your comfort zone, that you're going to have to get
Oh, this is good.
Tell me.
I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. I'm like blushing now. Ooh. Yeah. So one of the things that I know that I'll be pushing myself outside of my comfort zone is having my first live event this year. So yeah, I'll be pushing myself to do a live event. I'm going to be pushing myself to do public speaking, and I'm also going to be pushing myself to get my Macro Mentorship program in a place where I'm actually delivering it live to people publicly. So going into gyms and things like that and training them over a couple of days' time. So those are like my scary goals, but I'm like, I got to do it. Like, what else am I going to do with my time?
Crazy. As we get to the point you're, like you said, once you start doing things out of fear, like you just keep doing it even when you're scared, you realize like, well, whatever, like I might be scared, I'm going to do it anyways. Like, not being afraid of failing, but just not giving up. I think it's the thing that I love that you do. And so, you guys definitely need to check her out. She's absolutely amazing. I will leave all of her contacts in the show notes, but Eve, I'm just so thankful for you, and I'm glad you could be here today. And is there any other last thoughts or things that you wanted to leave these women with that are listening?
Yeah. Do it afraid.
Do it afraid. I love it. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, go ahead and follow Eve Guzman. I'll leave her at Eve Fit Chick stuff for everything, her social, all of that. And if you have any questions, reach out, because she's coached me with business. She's been helping me with life. So I love working with her. So definitely go ahead and check her out. Thanks, guys. Thanks again for listening to Confidently Uncomfortable. I love being able to connect with you here, and honestly, don't want it to end. So head over to my Facebook group, Body Confident Blueprint, and be sure to follow me on Insta at JGoFitLife. Also, if you're ready to get real confidently uncomfortable, go leave this podcast a 5-star review and email me the review screenshot, support@jgofit360.com, for a chance to win a free 30-minute fitness audit and goal setting session. I appreciate your support. See you next time.